This is the third presentation of a series of presentations on the Opium Wars. My name is Sean Han. I am in grade 8 of Class D in Huiteng School. And today I will be talking about the results of the Opium Wars, as well as some key points on what happened in the first and second Opium Wars. Note that the second Opium War is less about opium, even though it's also called the Opium Wars. Firstly, I'll be talking about Britannica Rules, basically meaning why Britain won and that Britain is dominant among China right now. Well, back then. Number 2, reparations. Number 3, Treaties of Tianjin, the treaties that required China to surrender and what they needed to do. And finally, some of the rebellions that, China had to face after the weakening of the Qing dynasty and the dynastic system overall. Now, if you remember from my first two presentations, you will remember that Britain was able to win over China due to technological superiority. And what they really wanted was just Canton. They really wanted Canton to be more, shall we say, open towards the Western world and make the other ports of Qing China to be more open to international trade. So they literally had to sell opium. And of course, opium is banned in China, so of course this makes things a little bit awkward for the Chinese. Now, the ban limits, of course, is here, and China decides to go ahead and fight the Chinese. Use their Chinese to fight the British. And so, of course, the British, with the technological superiority, even though they have fewer numbers of soldiers, were able to win. In fact, they marched all the way to Beijing. Also, it's called Peking for some reason. To just go ahead and ransack the whole place. In fact, they also ransacked the Emperor's Summer Palace. And so the Chinese wanted peace, and they decided to negotiate, which ended up with the Treaties of Tianjin, which demanded the Chinese do this. Reparations of 21 million pounds, it's pounds, not dollars. Hong Kong is now British, and will still be British until about a century later. And the Chinese, they don't really get anything good out of this. And since then, the spheres of influence in China from the Western countries such as Russia, Germany, France, and England were expanded. And of course, since they were expanded, China's dynastic system, as I mentioned earlier, started falling down. And then, of course, the Qing Empire, which I realize that we're still in the Qing dynasty to this very day in China, got very weak. And so, of course, with that, the East India Company basically got their goals. Britain literally got their goals. Opium was sort of legal. It's still illegal, right? It's still illegal. The British got their tea and other Chinese goods. Fighting basically stopped, although not completely. And the downside for China, though, they literally had to go ahead and deal with a bit more rebellions, such as the Boxer rebellions. And that took a big hit on China. And then more rebellions ensued. Other than that, there's not much more that we could really say about the Opium Wars. The British literally think that they should Britishify the entire world. And they certainly Britishfied Canton. They literally have British people living there now, and they have British missionaries inside there as well, too. Problem is, Christian missionaries are still not allowed inside there. And that's still kind of a problem, but other than that, most of the problems are fixed up, and that's it. That is the end of my presentation on the results of the Opium Wars and a little overview of what happened in the first and second Opium Wars. Thank you for watching.